Welcome back again to the Dr. Jonette channel. Today I have a special treat for you. You are going to want to watch all the way to the end because I have a bonus cold busting brain super spice tea that we are going to make. But before we get to that part, let's talk about what are my actually 6 top super brain spices for keeping your brain healthy and strong and functioning the way you need it to function so that you can have a healthy and productive life. So let's jump in and start with the first two of our brain super spices. They are actually 2 root spices, turmeric and ginger. Turmeric is a bright yellow spice that's commonly used in Indian cooking. It has anti-inflammatory as well as antioxidant properties. In fact, all of these super spices have both anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. And in addition to that, a number of them also have other properties that make them good, not only for our brain, but also for our body. Both the turmeric and the ginger also have some immune enhancing properties, which is why we're going to be putting them in our cold busting brain super spice tea. So let's talk about ginger. Ginger is a compound that has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. Inflammation in the brain, we now know, leads to cognitive decline, things like Alzheimer's disease, other degenerative brain diseases. So incorporating ginger into our diet will help keep our brain healthy and help reduce inflammation, not only in our brain, but also in our body. And by the way, turmeric also is a very powerful anti-inflammatory and is great for helping reduce the inflammation of our joints as well. So if you suffer from arthritis and other inflammatory diseases, turmeric and ginger are both great foods to incorporate into your diet. The next 2 spices are what I call aromatic spices. Both of them, when crushed or ground, release some powerful aromatic compounds that make them smell so delicious. The first one is cinnamon. Cinnamon is that spice that we all know and use a lot of here in the US. We use it in a lot of baked goods like cinnamon rolls, and we also like to put it on our coffee, on our hot cocoa. We like to use it in apple desserts, fruit desserts, and also sprinkle it on or put it in things like rice pudding or oatmeal or overnight oats. It's delicious, but in addition, tasting delicious, it's also a good anti-inflammatory in the brain as well as a antioxidant. It has one additional property though that also is important for our brain function, and that is that it helps us regulate our blood sugar levels. When our blood sugar levels are regulated, we are able to provide our brain with a constant supply of glucose. Remember, glucose is the brain's energy. It's almost the only source that our brain uses for energy. So our brain needs a constant supply of glucose in order for it to function. In fact, when I have a patient that comes in and looks like they're having a stroke, the first thing I test for is what is their blood glucose level or their sugar level in their blood. If it's low, I can give them sugar quite often and their stroke symptoms will resolve. In other words, if your brain doesn't get enough energy, it doesn't work very well. So cinnamon is one of those things that helps supply your brain with a constant energy source so that it can continue to function at its optimum. The next spice, aromatic spice, is nutmeg. And you can see why it's called nutmeg. The seed of the nutmeg fruit looks like a little nut called a nutmeg. And it's a little different than some of your other nuts because it's solid inside, so that when you grate it, say for a dessert or on top of something, it releases its aromatic, smells so good. I love the smell of fresh nutmeg. It releases its aromatic compound. In fact, if you want to incorporate a number of these brain superfoods into your diet, you are going to want to get probably a microplane. If you go to my website at growwithdrjonette.com, click on the shop button, you'll be able to find a microplane there. I like to use a microplane for freshly grating a lot of things like nutmeg, but also when instead of mincing garlic or mincing ginger or mincing turmeric, I like to take that microplane and grate it on my microplane before I add it to whatever I'm cooking. It not only releases some lovely smell of the super spice, but it also helps release some of the beneficial properties of it. And now we're down to our last two, but remember, after we finish talking about our super spices, we're going to make that brain buster tea that you're not going to want to miss. So we're down to our last two, which are what I call my savory brain super spices. They are rosemary and sage. I actually just went out to my garden. I'm in New York. It's the middle of January, and I went out to my garden and picked some fresh rosemary and some fresh sage leaves. Had a little bit of a hard time finding some fresh sage leaves, but there was actually quite a bit of rosemary out there. Both of these spices are fairly winter hardy, even though I don't take that chance. At the end of the growing season, I pick most of my rosemary, most of my sage, and dry it so that I know I will have some to use throughout the winter. Rosemary contains a special compound that helps promote neurogenesis. Neurogenesis is the birth and growth of new nerve cells in our brain. Sometimes our nerve cells get damaged, and neurogenesis is the way that our brain is able to restore and repair itself. Neurogenesis is also really important for neuroplasticity, which is how our brain is able to adapt and change to our environment. In addition to the promotion of neurogenesis, rosemary also has a lot of anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, primarily though anti-inflammatory properties. So it's good for you. If you have some underlying inflammation in your body, incorporating rosemary into your diet, I like to add it to vegetables, to potatoes, into soups and stews as well. It's delicious also in some of the sauces that I make. If you're looking for recipes whereby you can incorporate these super brain spices, go to my website at growwithdrjonette.com, and you will be able to find links on the blog about my super brain spices out to recipes that incorporate many of these brain super spices into recipes. And last but not least is sage. Star component is its antioxidant properties. The antioxidant properties help it destroy free radicals. Free radicals are destructive not only to our brain but also to our body. And sage has some strong antioxidant properties. If you found this video helpful so far, thank you for clicking the like button. And now we're going to go ahead and make our cold busting brain superfood tea. Today I have for you one of my favorite teas that I like to make when I'm feeling under the weather. It's the cold flu, cough, congestion, stuffy, runny nose season. And as an ER physician, I am seeing so many influenzas, COVID, common cold, strep throat, as well as other upper respiratory viral illnesses. So I thought I would share with you my favorite cold busting tea that I make when I'm feeling under the weather, which fortunately isn't very often. So let's get started and make this great cold busting tea. It has a few ingredients that are not only good for your immune system and help you fight the viruses, but they're also great for your brain. Let's start with the first. There are two roots that I include in this tea. I include the turmeric root and the ginger root. I'm going to go ahead and start here with the turmeric. I have in my favorite little teapot here, I'm adding 12 ounces of water. I'm going to go ahead and add about 1.5 inches of turmeric root. The next spice we're going to add to our tea is ginger root. The ginger has a kind of a skin on it that I like to peel off. Same with the turmeric root. I peeled the skin off of both of these with the edge of a spoon. I just take and kind of just scrape off that skin off of the ginger root. It's so much easier to peel the skin off with the edge of a spoon rather than try to get out a potato peeler and peel it with a potato peeler. It's also a lot safer, as the ginger root and the turmeric root aren't very long sometimes, and it's easy to peel the skin off of your finger in addition to peeling it off of the ginger root. I just broke about 1.5 inches. I used about 1.5 inches of the turmeric root and about 1.5 inches of the ginger root as well. I'm going to just go ahead and slice that ginger root right into our tea kettle here. And in addition to the roots, actually I had it in a little basket. I think I'm going to just dump it right into the teapot. I am going to add a little extra turmeric, about a teaspoon and a half of turmeric into our teapot as well. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually simmer our tea for 20 minutes on the stove. I'll put it over here on the stove and we'll get it simmering. As soon as it's boiling, I'll set my watch for 20 minutes. We are ready to finish our tea. I let the tea simmer for 20 minutes. After the tea was done simmering for 20 minutes, I added 2 bags of green tea to the pot and let it sit another 8 minutes. After that, I removed the tea bags and we're going to go ahead and strain out the turmeric and ginger pieces. Probably they will stay in the pot, but if they don't, I put a little strainer here just to make sure I get them all strained out. I like to strain this tea into this lovely clear pot so that you can get a sense of what the color of the tea is. I also went ahead and let the tea cool down to about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to cool your tea down to about 60 degrees because when you add your orange juice, and I'm adding 1 cup of fresh squeezed orange juice to the tea, when you add that orange juice, your vitamin C is an important part of the immune boosting properties of this tea. So you don't want to destroy your vitamin C. Vitamin C, when it's what's called heat labile, if you heat it much above about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you are going to destroy its immune boosting properties. So cool your tea down. After you simmer it for 20 minutes, add your 2 tea bags, let it steep for another 8 minutes, and then cool it down before you finish it up. The last thing I'm adding to the tea is a little sweetener. If you're vegan and want to keep it vegan, you can add monk fruit. That's my favorite honey alternative. I love honey in my tea, so I'm going to go ahead and add some honey to my tea. And I'm going to just stir in that honey. And our tea is now ready to drink. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. Click that like button and subscribe. Don't forget to also sign up for notifications so that you don't miss any of our brain healthy recipes for life, a longevity lifestyle, and for overall well-being. Go to the website also at growwithdrjonette.com for this recipe, as well as other recipes that are good for your brain, good for your body. And make sure you click and explore the health section of the website to find all kinds of great tips on how you can have a healthy, long life and stay healthy well into your hundreds.